The night on the human outpost of Arden 7 was silent. Stars floated in the black sky like tiny candles. The people living on this small colony felt safe. They believed war was far away. They believed the galaxy had forgotten them. But they were wrong. Far beyond their quiet world, something moved in the darkness. A shadow bigger than anything they had ever seen before. Commander Reyna stood on the observation deck of the outpost station. She was tired. For months, nothing had happened here. Only mining ships, supply transports, and a few travelers passed by. She thought this night would be the same. She sipped a cup of hot drink and looked out into the stars. Another quiet night, she whispered. But then, the warning light on the control panel flashed red. The radar operator's voice shook. "Commander, we have multiple contacts. They just appeared on the outer edge of the system." Reyna's heartbeat jumped. "How many?" The operator stared at the screen. 30 ships. Big ships. Not human. The room went cold. People turned to look at her. For a moment, no one moved. Reyna forced herself to speak. "Put it on the main display." The large screen lit up, showing strange, sharp shapes in space. Alien warships. "They moved fast, like predators smelling blood. They're coming straight at us," the operator said. His hands were shaking. "Are they sending any message?" Reyna asked. "No, Commander, nothing, just silence." The colony had no fleet, no defenses strong enough for this. It was just a mining station. They had a few small defense guns, but those were useless against a real warship. The alien fleet belonged to the Krath Empire. They were known across the stars for their power and cruelty. To them, humans were a young, soft species. Easy to break, easy to control. On the Krath flagship, the alien commander leaned back in his chair. His red eyes glowed as he looked at the human station. He smiled, a cold, cruel smile. "These humans don't even have a single proper ship," he said to his second-in-command. "This will be fun." The second-in-command hissed in agreement. "They are weak. We will crush them fast." Back on Arden 7, alarms began to scream. Civilians ran through the corridors. Parents grabbed their children. Soldiers rushed to the defense posts. Reyna stood in front of the microphone. Her voice echoed through the station. "This is Commander Reyna. An enemy fleet is approaching. All civilians, get to the shelters. All defense teams, report to your stations. This is not a drill." Outside the station, small human defense satellites tried to turn their old cannons toward the alien ships. They were like flies facing a storm. In the shelter, a young boy named Eli held his sister's hand. He didn't understand war. He only saw fear on the faces of adults. "Will we be okay?" he whispered. His sister forced a smile. "Yes," she lied. The alien fleet came closer. Their engines burned bright blue in the darkness. They didn't stop. They didn't slow down. They came like a storm. Reyna watched the screen. "Send a distress signal to Earth Command," she ordered. "It's already sent," the operator replied. "But it will take time." "We're too far. How long?" 4 hours. Maybe more. Reyna's hands clenched. 4 hours was too long. The aliens would reach them in less than 30 minutes. The alien commander gave his order. "Open a channel to the human station." A deep, rough voice filled the human command room. "Humans," the alien said slowly. "This station belongs to us now. Do not resist. Surrender, and some of you may live?" Reyna stared at the speaker. She didn't reply. The voice was cold, confident. He thought they were already defeated. The alien commander laughed when no answer came. "Fine, then you will all die." The screen went black. Outside, the alien ships started forming a circle around the human station. They were preparing to attack. The defense guns on the station turned toward them, but they were too small to make a difference. In space, there was no sound. But everyone inside the station could feel the danger closing in. Reyna whispered to herself, "Where are you?" Titan? That name, Titan, was not spoken often. It was a legend. The Titan-Class Warship was the most powerful human ship ever built. It was said to be a city in space bigger than anything the aliens had. But it was also a ghost, always moving, always hidden. Most people didn't even believe it existed, but Reyna had once seen it. She had seen what it could do. And now, with death flying toward her colony, she hoped the Titan was real enough to hear their call. The alien commander was enjoying himself. "This will be over quickly," he said. "Their weak signal cannot save them. No one will come." On the human station, soldiers looked at each other. Some tried to stay brave. Some whispered prayers. Some simply waited. The first alien ship crossed into close range. Its weapons glowed like red suns. Reyna took a deep breath. "All defense systems, fire when ready," she said. The defense guns lit up, firing thin streams of energy into the dark. A few hit the alien shields. They did nothing. The alien ships returned fire. A single blast hit one of the human satellites, turning it into dust. The explosion flashed like a bright star. Panic spread inside the station. People screamed. Alarms echoed, but then something changed. On the radar, a new signal appeared. It was weak at first, like a distant heartbeat. Then it grew louder, stronger. "What is that?" The operator whispered. Reyna leaned forward. Her eyes widened. "It's big," the operator said. "Very big." The alien commander saw it too. A massive shape was entering the system, moving fast. "Another human ship?" he said, laughing. "What can one ship do?" But this was not any ship. The radar struggled to measure its size. The number kept climbing. And climbing, Reyna smiled for the first time that night. "Titan," she whispered. The alien fleet did not laugh anymore. The alien commander sat back in his dark chair, surrounded by glowing red screens. His ship was the biggest in the Krath fleet, a predator among predators. A low hum filled the bridge as his officers stared at the strange signal on their scanners. "Commander," the second-in-command hissed. "There's a large object entering the system." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Large?" "Yes, it's enormous," the officer replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "Much larger than any human ship we've ever seen." A quiet laugh escaped the commander's mouth. "No human ship can challenge us. They are weak." "This is probably a colony freighter." The officers forced small, nervous laughs. But none of them really believed that. The signal was too big, too strong. The commander raised one clawed hand. "Ignore it. Keep formation. Target the human station." On the human side, panic was still spreading like fire. Alarms screamed in every hallway of the station. Civilians huddled in the shelters, whispering prayers and holding their loved ones. Reyna stood tall in the command center, even though her heart was beating hard inside her chest. "Status report," she ordered. "Alien ships are closing in, Commander," the radar operator said. 25 warships, 3 heavy cruisers, and 1 flagship. "Their weapons are hot." Reyna nodded. She already knew what that meant. "And the signal?" "It's still coming closer, fast, ETA." 12 minutes. Reyna didn't say anything for a moment. 12 minutes could feel like forever in a battle. The alien commander turned to his crew. "Prepare the first strike. Show these humans their place." His ship's weapons powered up. Huge red energy cores burned like small suns. One of the alien cruisers moved ahead, pointing its cannons at the human station. "They're charging weapons!" Someone shouted on the human bridge, "Raise shields." Reyna yelled back. The old station shields flickered like a dying light. They were weak, old, not built to face a war fleet. On the screen, the first alien cruiser fired. A red beam of energy cut through the darkness. It slammed into the shield. The station shook violently. Lights blinked. People screamed, "Shields down to 40%. The operator shouted. Reyna held the railing tightly to keep from falling. "Return fire. Everything we have." Small human defense guns started to shoot back. Blue streaks of energy flew through space, hitting alien shields. But the alien ships didn't even slow down. The alien commander smiled cruelly. "Pathetic. They really believe those toys will save them." One of the alien officers leaned closer. Shall we destroy them, Commander? Not yet, the commander said. Let them feel fear first. Let them know they are nothing. The alien fleet spread out around the station like a steel cage. There was no escape. Every escape route was blocked. Inside the shelter, Eli held his sister's hand tightly. The walls shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Will the Titan really come? He whispered. His sister bit her lip. She didn't know the answer. Reyna stared at the screen showing the alien flagship. It was huge and covered in dark armor. It looked like a monster. They want us to surrender? She said softly. A communications officer turned to her. Should we open a channel again? Reyna shook her head. No, if we talk they'll think we're begging. And we are not begging. The radar beeped loudly again. The Titan signal was now stronger. The operator's voice was shaking but excited. Commander, the signal is massive. It's bigger than anything we've ever seen. 10 minutes until arrival. For the first time, hope flickered inside the control room. The alien commander also noticed the growing signal. His smile began to fade. Commander, an officer said nervously. That is no freighter. Its size is beyond anything in our records. The commander slammed his clawed hand on the console. Enough! No human ship is stronger than the Krath fleet. But his voice didn't sound as sure as before. He turned to his fleet. All ships Titan formation. Prepare for interception. If something is coming, we will crush it. The alien fleet moved like a dark storm, shifting position with cold precision. Cruisers lined up in a wall of steel and fire. Fighters spread out like black insects. The human station shook again as another blast hit the shield. Sparks flew across the command deck. Shields at 15%. Someone shouted. Reyna clenched her fists. Come on, Titan, she whispered. Come on. Far away, in the deep darkness of space, something moved. A shadow, a giant. The Titan-Class Warship was waking up. Its engines burned with cold blue light like the heart of a star. The ship's dark hull glided through space with silent power. Its length was more than 5 kilometers. It was built for one purpose, to protect humanity back on the alien flagship. The commander's scanners filled with warnings. Unidentified object approaching. Estimated mass, extreme. Power level, unknown, unknown? The commander repeated. There is no unknown against us. Target it. Weapons across the alien fleet charged. Dozens of beams aimed at the darkness. Then the darkness itself split open. The Titan emerged like a mountain rising from the void. Slowly, silently, it revealed itself. The alien officers fell silent. No one spoke. Even the commander didn't smile this time. The human station went silent, too. Every pair of eyes stared at the massive ship. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its hull was black and smooth, lined with glowing blue lights that looked like veins of power. Giant cannons sat along its spine like the teeth of a dragon. The front was sharp, like a spear. The Titan didn't need to announce itself. Its presence alone spoke louder than any words. On the human command deck, people gasped. The operator whispered, "It's beautiful." Reyna smiled slowly. "No," she said softly. "It's dangerous." The alien commander growled. "One ship. Just one. Fire everything." Dozens of red beams shot out from the alien fleet. The space around the Titan lit up like a storm of fire. The beams struck the Titan's shield. But instead of breaking, the shield shimmered like water. And then nothing. Not a scratch. Alien officers stared in shock. The human civilians watching from the station whispered, "It survived. It didn't even move." The commander's hand trembled on the armrest. Reyna leaned forward. "Titan, this is Arden 7 station. We are under attack. Requesting immediate support." A calm, deep voice answered. "Acknowledged, Commander Reyna. Hold your position. We'll handle this." The entire human command center felt the chill in that voice. It wasn't afraid. It wasn't even angry. It was certain. The alien commander shouted, "Form a new line. Surround it." But it was too late. The Titan's engines roared, lighting up the darkness. Its massive guns rotated slowly, like a predator stretching its claws. The enemy had made their move. Now it was Titan's turn. The stars around Arden 7 seemed to freeze as the Titan-Class Warship fully came into view. For a moment, even the alien guns went silent. It was like the whole battlefield stopped to stare. The Titan did not rush. It did not roar or scream. It simply arrived, calm, quiet, and terrifying. Its dark hull stretched across space like a mountain floating in the void. Blue energy veins pulsed along its sides, glowing brighter with each second. The giant cannons mounted on its spine moved slowly, locking into position like sleeping monsters waking up. On the human station, people gathered near every window they could find. Soldiers, engineers, civilians, everyone wanted to see it with their own eyes. They had heard stories, legends even. But this was real. The Titan was real. Reyna stood in the command center, eyes fixed on the view screen. She had seen this ship once before, years ago, during a classified operation. But even then, she had not seen it like this. In full strength. "It's like a city," whispered the radar operator. "No, bigger than a city." Reyna spoke softly. "That's the Titan." On the alien flagship, panic had already begun to grow behind the commander's cold mask. He had faced many enemies. He had burned worlds. But never had he seen something like this. "Commander," an officer said in a broken voice, "it's larger than any warship in our records." The commander snarled. "Size doesn't matter. Fire again? All ships, full power." The alien fleet obeyed. Dozens of red beams sliced through the darkness. Explosions of light spread across the Titan's shield like a storm. But the giant didn't even flinch. Inside the Titan's control center, hundreds of crew members worked calmly. Their screens showed enemy fire striking harmlessly against the shield. "Shield integrity at 100%, said a calm female voice. The Titan's captain, a tall, quiet man with silver hair, stood at the front of the command deck. His name was Admiral Vance. He didn't smile. He didn't speak loudly. His voice was calm, like someone who had already won. "They started the fight," he said softly. "Now they'll learn why we built Titan." "Targeting systems ready," a weapons officer reported. "Good," Vance said. "Let's introduce ourselves." The massive cannons on Titan's front lit up with blue fire. A low hum rolled across the void, deep, powerful, like the growl of something ancient. Then Titan fired. A single beam of pure blue energy shot forward. It was not fast. It did not scream. It moved with slow, terrifying precision. One alien cruiser was caught in the beam. For half a second, its shield tried to resist. Then it shattered like glass. The entire ship broke apart in a flash of blue fire. On the alien flagship, the crew screamed as their screens filled with static. They destroyed it with one shot," an officer yelled. The commander slammed his hand against the console. "Regroup. Regroup now." But the alien fleet had never seen anything like Titan. Their discipline broke. Panic spread like poison. Another beam fired. A second alien ship exploded. This time, the other cruisers started to move back. "They're retreating," whispered someone in the human station. Reyna didn't smile. She knew what Titan could do. She also knew this was only the beginning. Alien fighters launched from their carriers like angry insects. Hundreds of small ships rushed toward Titan, firing streams of red energy. On Titan's deck, defense turrets rotated with perfect precision. Drones swarmed out of hidden bays like a cloud of metallic birds. They met the alien fighters in the middle of the battlefield. The result was chaos. Explosions flashed like fireworks in the black sky. "Drone swarm engaged," reported the officer on Titan. "Fighters neutralized in 90 seconds. "Make it faster," Admiral Vance said simply. The alien commander tried to hold control. "Push forward," he screamed. "Overwhelm it." But nothing overwhelmed Titan. Its shields held. Its weapons cut through their ships like paper. Every move was clean, cold, perfect. On Arden 7, civilians stared at the burning sky outside the station windows. Children who had been crying now whispered in awe. "It's winning," Eli said softly. His sister squeezed his hand. "Yeah, she whispered. Titan is winning. In the control room, Reyna received a message. Commander Reyna, said the calm voice of Admiral Vance through the speaker, Titan will hold the line. Keep civilians inside. Do not interfere. She nodded, though he could not see her. Understood, Admiral. The alien commander barked orders. All ships, fire everything. The void filled with red light again, but the Titan's armor was too thick. Its shield too strong. The Admiral gave a single order. Fire back. This time, the Titan's side cannons joined in. 4 beams crossed the battlefield at once. 4 alien ships exploded like dust in the wind. The alien commander's voice cracked. This isn't possible. But it was happening right in front of his eyes. Titan moved forward slowly, like a mountain sliding across the stars. It didn't rush to chase them. It simply advanced, pushing the alien fleet back by its presence alone. The Krath commander had built his career on fear. But now he was the one feeling fear. Commander, a trembling alien officer said, if this continues, we'll be wiped out. The commander stared at the massive warship on the screen. He remembered the arrogance in his voice when he told his crew, they are weak. Now that line felt like a joke. For the first time, he whispered, what are these humans? Inside Titan, Admiral Vance watched their ships fall one after another. His face remained calm. To him, this was not about glory or pride. It was duty. Titan was built for moments like this. Enemy formation breaking, reported the officer. Multiple ships falling back? Good, Vance said. Let them run. The drone swarm shifted formation. Instead of chasing every fighter, they moved to protect the human station. Shields from Titan extended outward like a glowing blue net. The alien weapons now couldn't even touch the station on the human bridge. Reyna's crew gasped as their screens lit up with blue protective energy. They're shielding us, one soldier whispered. We're safe. Reyna looked at the Titan floating between them and the alien fleet. No, she said softly. We're not just safe, we're untouchable. On the alien flagship, panic became chaos. Fighters refused to go forward. Cruisers turned around. The commander shouted, hold your ground. But no one listened anymore. Fear had broken them. Titan had not said a single threatening word. But its power had spoken louder than any threat. Commander, an officer whispered, should we retreat? The commander clenched his fists. He had never run from a battle before, but he looked at the battlefield and saw no other choice. He looked at Titan one last time. Its massive guns pointed at him. Its shields glowed brighter than ever. The aliens had come to conquer weak humans. But what they found was something else. Pull back, he said in a low voice. Pull back now. The alien fleet began to retreat. Reyna watched the alien ships moving away. They're running, she said. Yes, the radar operator replied. They're afraid. Outside the station, the Titan floated silently. It did not chase. It did not speak. It just watched. And everyone in that system knew humanity was not weak. Not anymore. The battlefield around Arden 7 hung in a strange silence. The alien fleet, once loud and proud, floated in confusion. Half their ships were already gone, torn apart by the Titan's guns. The rest hovered at a distance, like predators who suddenly realized they were not the hunters anymore. The massive Titan-Class Warship didn't chase them. It didn't need to. Its presence alone was enough to make every alien finger on every trigger hesitate. Inside the alien flagship, the commander's hands clenched the armrests of his chair. His red eyes flicked between the tactical screens. The Titan glowed in the dark like a sleeping god. This ship, he whispered, is not a warship. It's a monster. Commander, a frightened officer stammered, what are your orders? Should we retreat? The commander glared at him. No, he growled. We do not run. Not from humans. He stood slowly, straightening his long black coat. Prepare the assault squads. We're going to strike back. On the human station, Reyna watched every move of the alien fleet. She saw them pulling back but not leaving. They're regrouping, said the radar operator nervously. Of course they are, Reyna replied quietly. They still believe they can win. She turned to her communications officer. Open a secure channel to Titan. The big screen flickered and showed Admiral Vance standing tall on Titan's command deck. His calm face filled the room. Admiral, Reyna said, the alien fleet is still here. They're not done. I know, Vance answered softly. They want to prove they are strong. We'll show them what happens when they push their luck. Reyna swallowed. She had heard stories of Titan's real firepower, but never seen it with her own eyes. Tonight she would. On the alien flagship, the commander gave his final order. All ships focus on one point. Overload their shields. Don't spread fire. One target. One strike. The alien fleet shifted like a dark storm. Cruisers formed a tight spearhead formation, all pointing their guns at the Titan's center. Fighters swarmed behind them like a black cloud from a distance. It looked like a swarm of angry insects charging toward a giant. The alien commander raised his clawed hand. Fire! The void exploded. Hundreds of red beams cut through space at once. The battlefield turned crimson. The human station trembled as the massive energy wave roared toward Titan, on Titan's bridge. Lights flashed as alarms came alive. Multiple impacts incoming, reported the sensor officer. Brace for full force, said Vance calmly. Then the beams hit. The Titan's shield shuddered, glowing brighter, absorbing the energy like an ocean swallowing rain. The entire sky around it burned red. The station below shook. Civilians screamed. Shield holding at 90%, a voice reported. 90, Vance repeated with a slight nod. Good. On the alien flagship, officers stared at their screens in disbelief. We hit them with everything, one officer said. Everything. And the shield still holds, whispered another. The commander bared his teeth. Then we keep firing. We break it or die trying. The alien fleet fired again. Red beams poured into Titan like endless rain. But the warship stood still, unbroken, wrapped in its blue glow. Then Admiral Vance gave the quietest, calmest order of the night. Fire back. The Titan's core cannons lit up again, brighter than before. The front of the ship glowed with a sharp blue light. Dozens of smaller turrets along its hull moved into position like thousands of eyes opening at once. Target enemy cruisers, Vance said. Targets locked, replied the weapons officer. Fire! The night exploded. Blue beams tore across the battlefield. They weren't fast, but they were precise. Every shot landed exactly where it was meant to. Alien engines. Command bridges, reactor cores, one alien cruiser disintegrated in a flash. Then another. Then a third. On the human station, soldiers and civilians watched through the windows as Titan fired volley after volley. The alien formation collapsed like a tower of cards. Eli, the little boy hiding in the shelter, pressed his face against the small viewport. His eyes were wide. They can't stop it, he whispered. His sister squeezed his shoulder. No one can stop Titan. The alien commander shouted as the bridge shook. Evasive maneuvers. Break formation. But it was too late. Titan wasn't firing blindly. It was hunting. 6 enemy ships down, reported the Titan's weapons officer. Make it 10, Vance replied. The drone swarm launched again from Titan's lower bays. Hundreds of small, fast machines. They zipped through the enemy formation, cutting down alien fighters like lightning in a storm. The alien fleet tried to fight back. But their formation was broken, their shields failing. Their morale shattered. One alien officer screamed, They're everywhere! Another shouted, We can't hold them! The commander slammed his hand down. We are warriors. We do not run. But fear had already taken their hearts. Titan's railguns fired next. Giant projectiles, silent but deadly, shot forward, piercing through the alien flagship's outer armor. A massive explosion ripped across its side, sending debris flying through space. Direct hit on enemy flagship, reported the sensor officer. Vance didn't smile. He didn't need to. The alien commander staggered as the lights on his bridge flickered. Damage on deck 3. Fire in engineering, shouted one of his crew. Seal the decks, the commander growled. We're not done yet. But deep down, he knew. This battle was already lost. On Ardent 7's control deck, Reyna watched the alien fleet breaking apart. It's over, someone whispered. Reyna shook her head. Not yet. Not until they surrender or run. Her words were right. One of the alien heavy cruisers suddenly broke formation and tried to flank Titan from behind. Its engines roared at full power, desperate to score one good hit, but Titan's sensors picked it up instantly. Flanking ship detected, said the radar officer. Take it down, Vance ordered. The stern cannons turned and fired a single blue lance of energy. The alien cruiser vanished in an explosion so bright that even the human station shield sensors spiked. The alien fleet froze again. They understood now. They were not fighting a ship. They were facing a force. Panic filled the alien communications. They're too strong. Nothing works. Retreat. Retreat! The alien commander tried to shout over the noise. Hold your positions. This is not over. But the truth was, it was over. Enemy ships retreating, the Titan's officer reported. Scanners show multiple jump signatures. Vance nodded once. Let them run. The Titan didn't fire at their backs. It didn't need to chase. Its message was already clear. As the last alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, the battlefield grew silent again. Only the blue glow of Titan remained, floating like a guardian above Ardent-7. Inside the station, cheers erupted. Soldiers hugged each other. Civilians cried. Eli jumped into his sister's arms, laughing. They ran away. He shouted. They ran away from us. In the control room, Reyna wiped the sweat from her forehead. She looked at the massive ship on the screen. Thank you, Titan, she whispered. On Titan's bridge, Admiral Vance stood with his hands behind his back. His face remained calm, but in his eyes a quiet fire burned. This is what happens, he said softly, when they underestimate humanity. The battlefield that had once burned red was now quiet. The alien fleet that had entered the system with pride and power was broken. Wreckage floated like dark ghosts in the cold vacuum of space. Shattered ships spun silently, their twisted metal reflecting the blue light of Titan. And still, the Titan-Class Warship stood strong. Not a single dent. Not a single mark. It floated between the human station and the darkness like a wall that no one could break. Inside the alien flagship, panic was no longer just a whisper. It was everywhere, in the air, in the faces, in the trembling hands of soldiers and officers. Commander, one of the alien officers cried. Half our ships are gone. Another quarter is heavily damaged. We can't keep this fight going. The commander clenched his jaw. His red eyes burned with anger, but beneath that anger was something else. Something cold and sharp. Fear. This isn't possible, he growled. No single human ship should be this strong. A frightened officer whispered, maybe it's not just a ship. The commander turned sharply. What? The officer swallowed hard. Maybe it's a weapon. Something humans kept hidden from us. Something they built? For war. For a moment, the commander said nothing. He stared at the glowing blue warship on the main screen. It was silent. It didn't chase. It didn't need to. Its stillness was more frightening than an entire fleet attacking. Commander, another voice said. The soldiers. They are losing their nerve. Some are refusing to return to the guns. The commander's hand shook as he grabbed the edge of his chair. He could feel it spreading like a disease, fear, once it took root. It was almost impossible to stop. On Titan's bridge, Admiral Vance stood calm. The glow from the view screens reflected off his sharp face. His voice was low, steady. Report. All alien ships are pulling back, the weapons officer replied. We are tracking multiple damaged cruisers. Fighter wings are scattered. Are they regrouping for another attack? Vance asked. The sensor officer shook her head. No, sir. Their formation is falling apart, I think. They're scared. Vance didn't smile, but his eyes narrowed. Good. Fear is faster than any missile. Far below, in the human station, civilians began to leave the shelters. Eli and his sister stood by a large viewing window, their faces glowing from the light of Titan. The boy pointed at the alien ships moving away. "They're running again?" His sister nodded. "They're afraid." Eli grinned, a spark of pride in his small chest. "Of us." Back on the alien flagship, the commander slammed his fist against the control panel. "We are warriors of the craft. We do not run from one ship." But even as he shouted, his voice cracked. He was trying to control something he could no longer control. The officers around him avoided his eyes. They knew the truth. Their proud fleet had never seen defeat like this. One of the communication officers hesitated, then spoke. "Commander, we're receiving multiple distress calls from the other ships. Fires, explosions, casualties." The commander gritted his teeth. "Tell them to keep fighting." "They can't," the officer whispered. "They're too afraid." On Titan's tactical screen, Admiral Vance watched the alien fleet scatter like frightened animals. They were no longer an army. They were prey. "Deploy defensive wings," Vance ordered. "Make them feel like the walls are closing in." Titan's drones moved again, spreading across the battlefield like a net of light. Their blue engine trails cut through the darkness, surrounding the alien fleet without firing a single shot. The alien pilots saw the drones appear all around them. Tiny blue lights, quiet, cold, and deadly. They remembered how fast those drones had destroyed their fighters. One alien pilot screamed over the comm channel, "They're everywhere." Another shouted, "We're surrounded." Panic spread like wildfire. Inside the alien flagship, the commander barked orders. "Form up, regroup." But no one listened. On his screens, smaller ships were breaking formation. Some were trying to escape. Others simply froze, unable to act. "Cowards!" he shouted. "You will bring shame to the Empire." But it wasn't just the soldiers. Even the officers looked pale. One whispered, "What if they follow us home?" Another said, "If one ship can do this, what else do humans have?" The commander froze. That question burned through him. What if there were more Titans out there? For the first time in his long career, the commander felt true helplessness. On the human station, Reyna watched the screens closely. She could see the alien fleet breaking apart. She could feel their fear through their movements. "They're done," she said quietly. "Shall we finish them?" One of her officers asked. Reyna shook her head. "No, Titan decides that." She opened a channel to Titan. "Admiral Vance, the aliens are in full retreat." "Not yet," Vance replied calmly. "They still have their flagship. As long as it stands, they believe they still have power. We'll take that away." Reyna's heart beat faster. She knew what was coming. On Titan's bridge, the massive rail guns rotated toward the alien flagship. Energy built along the barrels, glowing brighter and brighter, until it lit up the entire void. The alien commander stared at the screen as the Titan locked onto his ship. His breath caught. He had led many battles, but no enemy had ever looked at him like this, without anger, without hate, just calm. "Final judgment, Commander," his second-in-command whispered. We should surrender." The commander turned, furious. "Never." But his crew no longer shared his courage. Many were silent. Some even stepped back from their stations. He saw it in their eyes. The war was already over. Titan fired. A blue beam as wide as a building cut through space. The alien flagship's shields shattered like thin glass. The beam tore across its side, ripping away its armor. Fire exploded from the hull. A wave of sparks and debris burst into the black void. The flagship trembled. The commander was thrown to the ground. Damage in all sectors. Someone screamed, "We're losing control?" The commander dragged himself up. He could barely breathe. He stared at the blue light shining through the cracks in his ship. His proud empire. Destroyed by one human ship. On Titan's bridge, Admiral Vance gave his next order with the same quiet strength. "Cease fire." "Leave them a way out, sir?" the officer asked. "They came to conquer," Vance said. "Now they will run home and tell the galaxy what happened here." The alien commander sat slumped in his chair. Around him, his crew stared at him, waiting for orders. But there was nothing left to order. Their ship was burning. Their fleet was shattered. Their courage was gone. "Retreat," he whispered finally. "Retreat?" Now, his words broke what little was left of the alien resistance. Ships jumped into hyperspace one by one, fleeing like shadows before the dawn. On Arden 7, cheers erupted again as the alien fleet vanished. Civilians hugged each other. Soldiers shouted and clapped. Eli jumped into the air, laughing. "They ran away again," he shouted. "They're scared of us." Reyna leaned on the railing in the control room. She didn't smile, not because she wasn't happy, but because she understood something deeper. This night wasn't just a victory. It was a message. The galaxy had just learned to fear humanity. Above the station, the Titan-Class Warship floated silently, like a guardian that had just awakened from a long sleep. Its shields still glowed softly. Its guns were still warm. But it didn't chase the aliens. It didn't need to. Inside, Admiral Vance closed his eyes for a moment. Not to rest, but to remember. He knew this battle would echo through the stars. "They thought we were weak," he said softly. "Now they'll never forget." The stars were quiet again. The alien fleet that had entered the system with loud engines and bright weapons was gone. Only broken wreckage floated in the blackness of space, and in the center of it all stood Titan. Calm and unmoved, the massive warship drifted slowly, its blue lights glowing like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Its hull was clean. No damage. Not even a scratch? The battle had been loud and violent, but the Titan ended it like a king who didn't even need to raise his voice. On the human station Arden 7, the alarms finally stopped. For the first time that night, the air inside felt light. People came out of shelters with shaking hands and wide eyes. Many had never seen war. They thought this would be their last night. But humanity had stood tall. Commander Reyna stood at the command deck, staring at the glowing shape of Titan on the screen. Her crew surrounded her, exhausted but alive. "They're really gone," whispered one officer. Reyna nodded slowly. "Yes, they didn't just retreat. They ran." Eli and his sister were among the civilians stepping out into the open corridors. The boy looked out through a wide observation window. He had never seen anything so huge, so strong. The Titan filled his vision like a steel mountain floating among the stars. His sister knelt beside him. "We're safe now," she whispered. Eli's eyes stayed fixed on the ship. "They were afraid," he said softly. "Afraid of us." On the alien flagship, far from Arden 7, chaos filled the bridge. Fires burned. Sparks fell from broken screens. The crew moved like shadows in the smoke. The alien commander sat in silence. His armor was cracked and blood dripped from his forehead. He watched the shrinking dot of Titan on the scanner as their ship limped through hyperspace. His second-in-command spoke with a trembling voice. "Commander, the fleet is scattered. Many did not make it. What are your orders?" The commander's claws tightened on the armrest. A part of him wanted to scream. Another part wanted to fight again. But both were drowned out by one clear truth. They had lost. His voice was low, almost hollow. "We tell the Empire what we saw." "But, Commander," he turned to her with burning eyes. "We tell them everything. We tell them what the humans built. We tell them about the Titan." Silence fell in the ruined bridge. The crew didn't need to say anything. They all felt it. They had faced something they couldn't control. And fear was already spreading beyond this ship to their entire empire. Back at Arden 7, the human station floated in the shadow of the Titan. Emergency lights turned off one by one. The sound of alarms was replaced by quiet whispers, cheers, and cries of relief. Commander Reyna leaned against the railing of the command deck. She looked tired, but there was strength in her eyes. She opened a secure channel to the Titan. The face of Admiral Vance appeared on the screen, calm, steady, powerful. He didn't look like a man who had just won a war. He looked like someone who had done what needed to be done. "Admiral," Reyna said, "on behalf of every person on this station, thank you." Vance gave a small nod. You don't need to thank us, Commander. This is why Titan exists. Reyna hesitated, then said, They were afraid of you. Vance's eyes narrowed slightly. No, he replied. They were afraid of what humanity has become. His words echoed in the room. On Titan's bridge, the crew moved with quiet efficiency. Engineers checked systems, pilots monitored the area, and tactical officers scanned for any returning enemies. But there were none. The system was silent, safe. Vance walked to the wide observation window at the front of the bridge. From there, the stars stretched endlessly in every direction. He could see the broken fragments of the alien fleet floating like dust. They came here because they thought we were weak, Vance said quietly, almost to himself. But weakness is a story they tell themselves, not the truth. His second officer stepped closer. Sir, shall we pursue the retreating ships? Vance shook his head slowly. No, we don't need to. Let them carry the story. Fear will travel faster than any fleet. Below on the station, people gathered in the main plaza. The power had returned. Warm light filled the space. Families held each other, soldiers stood with proud shoulders, and children stared up at the giant ship outside. A mechanic raised a toast with a mug of water. To Titan, he shouted. To Titan! Voices answered around him. Eli climbed onto a railing so he could see the ship clearly through the transparent dome. His small hands pressed against the glass. One day, he whispered, I'll fly a ship like that. His sister smiled softly. Maybe you will. Far away, in the cold dark of space, other alien factions would soon hear about this battle. They would hear about the night when an entire craft fleet fled from one ship. They would speak the name Titan in low voices. Some would doubt, some would fear, but all would remember the legend had begun. On the human side, messages were already being sent back to Earth Command. Reports of the battle, sensor recordings, transmission logs, and a single line in every report, the Titan-Class Warship held the line. In the command room, Reyna finally sat down. Her hands trembled as the adrenaline faded. For hours, she had been holding her station together, waiting for death. But now, everything was different. She looked at the screen showing Titan. We didn't just survive, she said quietly to herself. We showed them. Meanwhile, on Titan's bridge, Vance gave his final order of the night. Prepare for silent departure. Maintain stealth formation. No broadcasts. The ship's engines hummed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Slowly, the Titan turned away from the station. Its massive body slid through the darkness like a shadow. Reyna's crew watched the ship moving away. One young soldier whispered, It's leaving. Reyna nodded. It always does. It's not here to stay. It's here to protect. The Titan jumped into hyperspace, leaving behind only its glowing light fading into the stars. For a long time after, the people of Arden 7 stood by the windows, staring at the spot where the ship had been. Even after it was gone, it felt like it was still there, watching over them. Eli looked up at the stars. Do you think it'll come back? He asked his sister. She smiled softly. It doesn't need to. Everyone out there now knows. Not to mess with us. Far across the galaxy and alien space, the Krath Empire received the commander's report. The hall was silent as the battered commander stood before the High Council. His voice was hoarse, but his words were clear. It was one ship, he said. Just one. We brought 30 warships. We had numbers. We had fire. But nothing worked. The alien High Council leaned forward. One of them asked, What ship? The commander raised his eyes. There was fear in them, something the council had never seen in him before. They call it Titan, he said. A silence fell like a stone into a deep well, back in human space. News of the battle spread quietly but quickly. Soldiers whispered about it. Pilots spoke of it in bars. Civilians passed the story like a spark in the dark, the phrase repeated over and over. They thought we were weak. Then the Titan appeared. Commander Reyna looked up at the stars one last time before leaving the command deck. She felt tired but proud. For years, humanity had grown under the shadow of alien empires. But tonight, the galaxy had seen something new. Something strong. The Titan was not just a warship. It was a message that said, "We are here. We are strong, and we will not kneel." Eli sat by the window again. The stars twinkled around him. He whispered the name Titan like it was magic, somewhere out there. The giant warship moved silently through the void, unseen but unforgettable. And every alien who heard the story would remember the night they faced it, the night they feared humanity.